Welcome into another episode of the KC Sports Authority podcast. And boy, do we have a special one planned for you guys today. I'm Keegan Russell. This is JB Merker. And the two of us had the opportunity to sit down and speak with one of the stars of your Kansas football program, a local legend. He is known as the Real Deal.
Devin Neal, Lawrence native, born and raised.
Yeah. Devin Neal is a treat to watch. This is a kid who can do it all.
He can take it the distance at any moment.
Neal with a nice cut. Here goes Devin Neal for the first time. Stays on his feet, and he is gone to open the 2023 season.
Receiver set on 2nd and 10. Handoff. Neal has a seat. 10, 5. Touchdown. Touchdown, Jayhawks. Real deal. Devin Neal back in the end zone.
Job's not finished. We got one more. All chalk, baby.
And back for one more season indeed. Guys, it is a pleasure to be joined by Kansas football running back Devin Neal. Devin, man, thanks so much for taking the time today and welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I'm definitely excited for coming back for another year. And yeah, we're gonna get it done for sure.
I tell you what, as a Lawrence kid yourself and a Lawrence kid myself, same high school, it is really cool to sit here and watch highlights of Brian Haney mentioning a kid from Lawrence who grew up here his entire life in all these amazing highlights the last couple of years we've seen. And of course, there's going to be many more coming into your senior year. But I want to start with the Lawrence talk here for a second. Not only are you helping us get wins on the football field, but may have played a little bit of factor in some potential upcoming wins in basketball with your good friend Zeke Mayo.
Yep.
Obviously, you don't need to get into the full details, but just what's it like seeing a guy that you went to high school with, a friend of yours growing up, that both of you guys are now here at the program at the same time, football and basketball, two Lawrence kids living out their dreams. What's that like hearing that with him?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unique in the way that, we talked about stuff like this when we were children. We go way past even high school. I mean, we met each other at 4 years old because our parents were neighbors at the time. And, to see what's kind of turned in from, just playing basketball on the street to, living out our dreams, and especially doing it at the same school now, it has a different feeling to it. You can only talk about it so much, but to be able to actually do the things that you set out to do, that you dream of doing your whole life, it means a lot more. And it's just really cool. It's going to be awesome to see, KU basketball from a whole different perspective now, because I've never actually known really anyone on a close level on that team. So now I'm, hopefully I get in good seats right behind the bench. So I want to be professional.
Devin, we got to ask you, has Bill called you and thanked you for the assist?
No, he
No?
didn't. But,
Oh, man.
when I took him me and Zeke, obviously I went with them on the visit. And, I was talking to Coach Self a little bit, and, he said, hopefully you got the job done. And obviously, I didn't have to do too much work, but,
So I know the fans have obviously seen the photo rolling around of you and Zeke next to Andrew Wiggins going to basketball camp. So the connection to KU has been there a long time. And I can't believe when I look at that photo that's 10 years ago, because to me, you guys look like you're 6 years old in that photo, and you're definitely older. But when did you know, and I don't know from talking with Zeke if he ever thought this too, did you guys talk growing up about how the dream was to walk out in that Kansas uniform?
Yeah.
Was that always the dream?
I mean, it's weird. I mean, we always obviously thought about KU, but, saying that we're going to play at KU together, or, our paths went lead like this, I mean, it wasn't really much of a thought, at the time. Back then we talked about his teams like Oregon and all the flashy schools that you're looking at. It's just, a lot of people that I grew up watching, and those are schools you wanted to go to follow. And obviously at the time it was rough for KU, but not for KU basketball, but for KU football. I always knew my calling wasn't going to be in basketball. Obviously I was battling between baseball and football. So, for him though, he always talked about playing in Allen Fieldhouse and, a lot of these other things. And, just to see it come full circle, it's really crazy just thinking, playing in the hometown school. And it's more just thinking about how much our family has impacted that decision and how they can come to all the games and be close. So that's kind of, I think, how we view it more now than anything.
Yeah, for you, you get to have all that basically since childhood. You've never had to leave
Yeah,
the city per se to have your family come watch you. So it's
right.
been 3 years. Obviously, you got a big senior year coming up. But what has it meant to you so far to walk out in that Kansas uniform and now be a part of a program that is very quickly turning things
Yeah.
around, that seems to be on the up and up for a long time moving forward? But how has that process been for you the last few years? Obviously, coming in that first year was a rough turnaround switch over into before you get into Coach
Yeah.
Leipold's time here. But what has the last 3 years been like for you wearing that Kansas uniform as the Kansas kid yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like kind of watching different cycles of how this thing's kind of transpired. And, like you said, it struggled the first year. It was kind of just building confidence. You saw the back half of the season, and then, we knew we had potential then. We always knew we had the talent. It was about putting stuff together. And then, my sophomore year, then we start putting it together, but we're not fully there. And even last year, obviously we're not fully there, but you saw it. It was, we're not sneaking up on teams anymore. It's more of we're losing the games because of our mistakes,
Yeah.
not because the team is just lining up and just, dominating us. Those are the strides that I've seen taken in this program. And, it's just we keep finding more and more ways to get ourselves better, our leadership's better, our nutrition habits better, just any little thing to get the edge. And, Coach Sleeve actually said it the other day is like, freshman year, I think our average O-line weight was like 280. And now it's like 325. I mean, we actually look like Big 12 football players now.
Yeah. Hey,
So I mean,
NCAA football
it's just
players.
crazy to think of it in that aspect too.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to ask you about. I know your first 2 seasons, I got to see a lot of you guys up close and personal in the morning at breakfast, and that was a big thing I noticed that freshman year for you going into year two. Once Leipold gets down here and inserts his staff and Coach Gildersleeve specifically, you guys just really took off, not just with nutrition and learning how to eat properly, taking the vitamins and doing the things the correct
Yeah,
way there, but getting into the weight room. It was a night and day difference from year
right.
one to year two to see, hey, these are not just guys that are playing college football. These are D1 athletes that are getting
Right.
recruited by other top programs. And now
Yep.
we look the part. Now let's get out there on the field and start playing the part. But can you tell us a little bit about what Coach Gildersleeve has done for you guys, what his philosophy is, strength and conditioning? He seems to be a guy that's just always amped up, always getting you guys fired up.
Yeah.
And since he's been around, just the energy is through the roof with that
Mhm.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Sleeve and his staff is just guys who always are looking to improve. And, at first when they got here and we got here, it was more putting as much muscle and on people as possible, just getting them beefed up. And now it's more specific training towards your position group. So that's just very simple, and it sounds very simple, but it's not. You have to come up with 3 different plans for 4 different lift groups, and that's just the impressiveness from him and his staff. And also focus on the nutrition aspect and all those other little things too. But I think the main thing, and you've heard plenty of people talk about, is just the culture. I mean, it really starts with him. It starts with Coach Leipold, but they pass it down onto us as leaders, and then us leaders pass it down to the rest of the team. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen continue to grow and continue to get better each and every time that we step on the field or we come back from breaks or stuff like that. Is just everyone has a different mindset around what we're trying to do now. It's not just trying to win a few games. It's preparing to win a national championship. That's the type of mindset we have.
And I remember your freshman year, I was talking with Stuckey a little bit about the leadership on the team. He said, "Hey, if these guys can come in and start, grasping this culture, we're going to really take off. But we need some of those guys to step up." And I remember talking to him. I was like, "Hey, I know he's only a freshman, but Devin speaks very professionally, very respectful in the morning. I mean, we're talking 5:30 in the morning. You guys are full of energy, good to go, setting the tone early." I was
Yeah.
like, hey, he's going to be a guy that even as a freshman, I guarantee you he's going to find a way to step in as leader. And now here we are 3 years later, going into your senior year,
Yeah.
being one of the faces of the team, one of the expected leaders on this team. What have you learned along the way as far as leadership? What do you think you've done to help bring the guys along around you as you're entering in your senior year?
Yeah, I mean, earlier on in my career, it was a lot of trial and error, is kind of reverting back to what the coaching staff was beforehand. Is like, you're a freshman, you can't lead. And so I would get a lot of negative connotations towards that aspect. And, you know, I kind of got disappointed with that. And so I stopped trying as much. But Coach Sleeve has always been in my corner. Is like, you got to keep going. And so I just kept learning to push and keep building connections with guys to the point where eventually they trust me. They saw what I was doing on the field. They knew I was about my work. And, I think that's the biggest thing. And now it's just more about, planting trees, man, and, just putting this program into a spot to where it's not going to fall off when guys leave, and, just making sure the running back room's right and passing on all the knowledge that I've learned, not only from leadership, but from on the football field, how to handle your business off the field, just certain things like that. I think those are really valuable lessons. And I didn't necessarily have that. I didn't have a guy to look up to in the running back room when I was younger. So I kind of want to be that for guys like Harry Stewart, Johnny Thompson, and, therefore, whoever comes in the summer on visits, anything, just passing on information, man.
Yeah, JB, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's going to be a big senior year coming up.
Yep.
You're going to be in unfamiliar territory, semi-unfamiliar, because, of course, Kansas Stadium is in shambles now, quite literally.
Yeah.
We're going to Arrowhead. So what is that going to be like for you as a senior, as a local guy? Obviously Arrowhead it's on the Missouri side, but Kansas City and Lawrence, we're all one big family when it comes to football, in my opinion. So, and Arrowhead is very much a home NFL stadium. Man, I mean, you could have been in the NFL this year. You chose to come back, and you're going to step into Arrowhead. What's that going to be like senior year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little hit or miss with it, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sad, I guess, in a way, just to realize you've played your last game in the booth. But, at the same time, it's going to be pretty cool playing in a stadium like that. I'm not really too big on where I'm playing, to be honest. It's just, it is what it is. But, it's obviously it's going to be pretty cool. But, it's also going to suck if we lose in that thing too. So,
no pressure.
So, I mean, that's really what I'm focused on. And, because it'll be a lot more fun if we win a lot of games and pack that thing out and, just show out and do what we're supposed to do.
So I have a feeling those Super Bowl champions over there might have a little impact in getting that stadium full for when you guys show up.
Hopefully.
We're gonna pack Arrowhead, man. We're gonna pack it because and it's gonna be loud. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to those games. But
me too.
Who do you think senior year on the team right now? I mean, it can be anybody, but who do you think is really going to surprise us on this roster that maybe the casual Kansas fan not really thinking about? Any names stepping up that you think are going to have a big year in this upcoming season?
I mean, I can go down the line, but I'm really going to just say up front, honestly, for us, offensive line. I mean, I just know there's a ton of questions for fans. Mm-hmm. We lost Dirk. We lost Pooney. There's a lot of question marks. Who's going to be where? What's going to happen? But those dudes work extremely hard, man. And, Coach A, Coach Grimes, they have a fantastic plan. It's more of a pro-style type offense, and it's just going to benefit what we try to do. And I think it's going to simplify up front for us, and they're just going to be able to do their job, play physical and play fast, man. And that's all that's important. And I'm excited to run behind those dudes. I know JD and whoever the receivers, everyone's excited to have those guys protecting us. And I just think they're going to shock a lot of people with how well they're going to gel together.
Yeah, I don't know you guys got a big time pickup this week in the portal too, in an offensive line out of Michigan.
Yep, I did see that. Obviously, I mean, I don't know too much about him, but you can never have too much depth at O-line either. So excited about it. I know he's gonna do good in our culture. All the Detroit guys have done extremely well. So I'm excited to see what he's about, and we're gonna get to it in the summer for sure.
I don't know, Keegan, if you can pull up the actual schedule, but I mean, Devin, we got to ask you, real talk. Are we going 12-0? You got hit it to me straight.
I mean, as a competitor, I'm always going to say we're going 12-0. And I truly feel that. I truly feel that way, man. I mean, no one's easy in the Big 12, right? But I think we're at the point, in our program that obviously we're not going to sneak up on anyone anymore, but at the same time, we have all the right pieces in the right places, man. And we have a ton of experience, probably one of the most in, the Big 12 or probably even the country at this point. And that's crazy to even say, thinking about what it was like 2 or 3 years ago. But, I just think it's going to come down to us, and we got to execute, man. We got to practice with a certain intent. We have to think about winning all the time in this summer and leading up to it. And, it's just going to be super important that everything is, to the dot and to the T in everything we do. And I just think that comes as our job as leaders to make sure that's happening. And just, really make sure that everyone has the same mindset going into this thing, not just one that wants to be average, wants to win 10 games. No, we don't want to win 10 games. We want to win more than that, so.
Hey, that college football playoff's expanding, and the possibility of finding Kansas's name in that is definitely very possible this year. And I think what's exciting is this offense, both sides of the ball, really. But this offense, you guys are returning so much experience.
Yeah.
Almost by the time the season rolls around, could be 9 of the 11 starters from this last year potentially. All of your receivers are essentially back that had the bulk of playing time. Obviously, you and Highshaw being, in my opinion, the best 1-2 punch, not just in the Big 12, but in the country as a whole. And of course, the return of Jaylen Daniels, which not only are the fans super pumped about, but I'm sure you guys as teammates are just really excited for him just to get back out there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the two of you together, that quarterback running back tandem. Where do you guys think personally you guys rank in the rest of college football as that 1-2 quarterback running back duo?
I don't think there's anyone better than us two together, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, it's just, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a different type of dynamic. I mean, Illinois game. I mean, and I just think me and JD just know each other so well that we kind of just bounce off of each other, and you kind of, it's weird to say it that way, but you can kind of see it, in a game, and you can see how a defense struggles to handle both of us at the same time. And so I just think there's a different dynamic when it comes to that. And I just don't think anywhere else in the country can do that. Yeah. Or even they and I know for sure they don't have another person in the running back room that can
definitely not
like Daniel, who can come in and, do better than anyone else in the country as well too. So I just think between me, Daniel, JD, it's just a really tough combination to deal with for defense.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have to go, all right, let's look across the line. Who's our focus point today? All right, we're going to slow down Devin. Well, guess what? We got a dynamic dual threat quarterback. We've got another great running back in Daniel Highshaw who's just going to run you straight over. And we've got a talented and very experienced receiver core that continues to get better, as well as a talented tight end group. So as we're coming into senior year, just real quick, let's go back to last year. Obviously, one of the best seasons this program's had in a long time. You go 9-4. It felt like every single game, despite the injury adversity with Jaylen and some of the other issues throughout the season, injury-wise. Obviously Jason Bean had some huge performances for you guys, and we were very critical last year on the podcast talking about his play, as most people are with quarterbacks, but to see him just rise above all that and to keep pushing you guys late into the year, to set you up for what should be a fantastic 2024-2025 season. Looking back on that year, what do you think you guys will take away from that season that will really propel you into the same kind of start and push you even further this next year?
Yeah, I mean, I just think when you really watch those games, you can really see like the 1 to 4 plays that kind of decide a game, and that's how close it is to either being 12-0 or 0-12, literally, and especially in this game. So, I really think just focusing on that in practice, man, as best as you can. You can't get to those situations all the time, but to the best of our ability, when fall camp comes around, we have to take advantage of every snap. Like no snaps can be average or no snaps can be bad, and we have to take advantage of that, man. And we have to think about that all the time. And like I said earlier, it's all about our intent on wanting to be great, and that's also the frustrating part when you look back on those 4 losses we had. Is like, man, if this play went this way, it's just a whole different ball game. But, hindsight's always 20/20, and you can only just look forward to getting better and learning from those mistakes too.
I think that's why, as a fan, I feel so confident is every single one of those games, even the Texas game, which got a little wild there late, you guys were in every single game this season. There was never a moment where it's like, man, this team just doesn't have enough. Even, Cole Ballard coming in as a true freshman and having to take over the reins, put you guys in a position to potentially win that game late. And just to see you guys recover, because we know the Kansas of 2, 3, 4 years ago, you guys go down 14-0 early or something, or you face some adversity. You guys are going to fight still, but there's no coming back. And now, as a fan base, we can go, hey, kind of like what the Chiefs do. When Mahomes goes down late, there's no doubt that he's going to pull this thing back together because of the talent around him. And we have that kind of team this year as well as last year, because you guys fight tooth and nail to the final whistle, to the final second on that clock. And I think gives fans a lot of excitement for this senior year. So I want to talk legacy with you for a few minutes. I don't know what that decision was like for you, how tough it was testing the waters in the NFL, coming back. I'm sure you got calls and you had people saying, hey, you're a running back. Running back's the most injury-prone position. Go pro now while you're younger. Go pro now. But you decide to come back for your senior year. And the question I just have is, why come back? What's left for Devin Neal this last year?
Yeah, I mean, dude, honestly, like it was one of the harder decisions I've had to make. But at the same time, it's one that's easy too, because you kind of have two dreams in one hand. And just to think full circle that I'll be in this position, legacy wise at KU, and to be even in the position to say that I was able to go to the NFL and probably would be in the NFL. It just feels great, man. And the reason why I come back is just the people around me and the fan base, everything that I've stood for, everything that I've talked about in the past is why I've decided to come back. And because I wasn't done. We didn't do what I wanted to do yet. I set out to win a Big 12 championship, to win a national championship, and we haven't done that. I mean, we've been damn close, but we haven't done it.
Yeah.
So to be able to come back and, obviously go towards that, but also go towards my individual achievements, it means a lot. And to be, at the forefront of that one day. And I mean, words can't really describe how I feel about that. But, at the end of the day, I know that so many people helped get me into this position, and I just don't want to let them down. And, I think coming back kind of solidifies that. So.
And I know you're a very humble guy, very professional guy, but those record books, man, I'm sure they're catching your attention. It is not far away. You're sitting fourth all time in total yards behind three really, really good KU running backs.
Yeah.
But you need 765 yards to break the record, which I'm sure you're well aware of what that yardage mark is.
Yep.
To get guys like James Sims, Tony Sands, and June Henley. And that record's held up a long time.
Yeah.
You're also not that far off from the all-time touchdown record there. June Henley, again, who just had a monster 1996 season and career. But he's sitting at 41 TDs, and you're third with 33. So I'm starting to look at the schedule here. Not only am I excited that you're hopefully going to hit those records this year, healthy and getting going, but is there a game you might be circling on the schedule that might be the record-breaking game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember what week it was, but I think it was the Houston week. I think that's either 6 or 7.
Week 8, week 7, week 8. Yeah. That's the one I was looking. I know it's going to be frustrating that you're not going to be doing it in the booth in front of the local fans there, but that was the one I circled. And I thought, oh, hey, wouldn't it be fun too if he goes and breaks one of those on the road at K-State in KU victory, which would also be.
No, I want to be at home, man. I really do. I want to be at home for that one.
So what would getting those records mean to you? Not just as a 4-year Kansas football player, but as a Lawrence kid growing up, seeing Kansas all around you your entire life. What would it mean for you to know that the guy living in Lawrence growing up will have his name etched in the record books for until someone potentially comes to break it? What would that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just means the world, man. I mean, just understanding that at one point when I did commit, I didn't know what to expect, man. And that's kind of the leap of faith that I took. And just understanding that all the hard work, everything that's led up to this point, that's sometimes, obviously we got the results on the field with the wins, but sometimes the work that you've put in for years and years goes unnoticed. Finally, you get those results, and it's in a big way too. So, I've always just focused on in my life, just keeping my head down, man, and just going to work each and every day, because you never know when the day is going to be your last, man. And so just understanding that, and, to be in this position to do it at this great university with these great running backs. And I mean, it's just, like I said, words can't really describe how I'm going to feel that day when it happens. But, what I do know is I'll be with two of my families. I'll be with, my brothers on the team and the coaches, and I know I'll be with my family as well too. And, it's going to be a really great moment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a few more here I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to kick it over to JB for some rapid fire stuff to end up. But part of coming back is with the idea of getting better. So what aspect of your game do you feel like you need to develop or improve upon the most this last year in college before you take your talents to the next level?
I just think, from a lot of the feedback I heard is the two main things were, continue to get better at pass pro, and then also being able to show the ability to split out more and run routes and be dynamic in that aspect. Because the standard in the NFL is Christian McCaffrey and those type running backs. So, if I can show that ability to do that, you get the opportunity to, get paid earlier and, obviously strive to make that second to third contract. That's the biggest thing, especially in my position. So.
Absolutely. And then one thing I wanted to ask you, obviously growing up, there weren't a lot of great KU football teams to look up to as far as success on the field, but were there any players growing up for you football wise that you really looked up to on the team, or any guys you tried to model your game after?
More that I looked up to, I was a huge James Sims guy. Huge. That dude, and he was in the thick of the roughness too.
Yeah.
But he was like the shining star too. So, I think I still have his posters in my parents' garage, honestly. So yeah,
I love that.
definitely him.
How about anybody professionally? Are there any NFL running backs that you are taking bits and pieces of their game to add into your play style?
I really like ETN. He's one of my favorite backs. I love watching him, and obviously he's way faster than me. He ran like a 4.3, low 4.3. I just think there's parts of his game that remind me of mine. And I try to not necessarily. It's hard to model your game after another back because everyone has something that makes them different. But you see bits and pieces of them that why they're successful in the NFL, and those are the type of things that you try to emulate in your game as well. So I would probably say him for sure.
When I watch the tape, I see a lot of prime Le'Veon Bell with some of the cuts that you make, the ability to be patient behind the line. I can think of probably at least half a dozen plays this last year where there's no hole. It looks like you're going to get swallowed up for a 3-4 yard loss. And the next thing you know, you're 8-10 yards down the field. Where did you learn that ability to be patient and wait for those openings? Or where did you figure out that, if you just time it right, that you can turn nothing into something?
Yeah. I just think it's more of the latter of what you said is just kind of understanding, sometimes when stuff's not clear that most likely a defense is still trying to look for you. That's kind of the thing that I kind of picked up on, that sometimes they really can't just see you. And so like you kind of just, it's almost like blending in almost. And the more you're patient, and eventually something's going to open up. And so that's kind of how I go about it and think about it. But it also comes with a ton of reps of doing it too.
Sure.
It's been something that I've kind of done my entire life, like freshman year of high school, even before then. So it's just kind of my style, man. And it's kind of something that I've just leaned into, and it's been successful in college. And I just keep trying to find ways to get better at that too.
Yeah. And then last question I got for you. A little ways down the road here, when you and the fan base is reflecting back on your time at Kansas, what do you want to be remembered by?
Yeah, I just want to be remembered as, obviously being a part of the forefront of the team that changed it, man. And obviously that. And I also want to just be known for what I've done out in the community and what I've done for the program. I take pride in, giving back and taking care of the community that's taking care of me. Not a lot of people can obviously take care of their communities back home for their college team too. So I take a lot of pride in that, and just being able to be a stand-up guy and have anyone who can come up to me and have a positive experience. That's kind of what I want to be known for, is more about what I do off the field than I do on. So
that's awesome, man. Now, JB, I know you got a couple more for him.
So I just got this is going to be the lighthearted part.
All right, let's do it.
So we're going to have a little bit of this or that. You got to shoot me straight one answer. It's either this or that.
Gotcha.
The wheel or pizza shuttle?
Pizza shuttle.
All right. We got Hawk or the Bull?
Hawk.
All right. We got Johnny's or 23rd Street Brewery?
You know what I'm about to say, man.
I told him that. Yeah.
There it is. There it is. All right. All right. How about this one? I think all the people want to know.
Okay.
KU or K-State?
Man, what the hell? Rock chalk, baby.
Rock chalk, baby. So okay. So enough of that. If there was somebody on the team, some more like lighthearted stuff. There's somebody on the team that you would say is best dressed. Who is that?
Best dressed?
Yeah.
There's a few guys, honestly. I'll probably go Doug Emilion.
Okay, Doug. Okay, I see it.
He's
Or
been that answer
Daniel
before.
low key. I'm switching my answer.
Uh-oh.
Daniel. I like Daniel's style.
Okay.
If you
All
know,
right.
you know.
Who's someone on the team that you would never want to take a tackle from?
Ooh. As me,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's gonna hit me hard enough.
I
But
like the confidence.
if I'm saying like it's gonna be a big hit, I'd probably say JB. I'm good on that.
Would it have been Kenny Logan last year? The way he hits?
He hits hard. Not me, but he hits hard.
Who do you think who do you think the team as a whole would say is the one guy on the team that no one would let date their sister?
Kobe.
That was the quickest response to that. You didn't have to think on that.
Kobe easily.
Oh my gosh. All right, man. So Devin, as we wrap up, I have one final question for you, and this is actually a little bit more serious.
Okay.
What do you think is a bit of advice that the future you would tell you to savor in this final year of college at KU?
That's a great question. I'd probably say like it's going to be more off the field. I'd probably say, to enjoy every moment. And I'm going to keep it that simple because, in the past, I've always been so caught up in my work, just working hard, and forget all the other fun aspects of college, and I'm not saying I got to go out and party like the normal folk, but, just enjoy every moment that you have in this town because it could be one of my last, and enjoy my family, enjoy the people I'm around, enjoy the city, get outside more, just anything that I wasn't going to do in the past, go try it out. Just say, whatever the case is, just go do it, and just enjoy those times because, life's about to get pretty serious and, definitely could use more lighthearted moments in this world. So just like, I'm going to keep it simple, man. Just, stay with it and enjoy every moment.
I know the rest of Jayhawk Nation is going to be enjoying those moments alongside with you, and they're looking forward to not just your senior year, but this 2024-2025 KU football season that's upcoming. Obviously we wish you the best of luck. Hope that you have a long, healthy season, get to hit all those records, take us to the next level, get us to that college football playoff, and just really enjoy it. But Devin, thanks again so much for joining us on the pod today. We greatly appreciate it, and look forward to seeing what this last year has in store for you. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you.
All right, rock chalk.
Rock chalk.
And that was our conversation with Kansas football running back Devin Neal. Man, that was a lot of fun. I hope you guys really enjoyed that as much as JB and I did. JB, you got any big takeaways from that?
Man, I just think this guy is ready to play. Senior year, it's not going to be any joke. I love Devin Neal. He is a legend, and he will forever be remembered by KU fans, regardless of what happens this next year. So, bigger shouts out to Devin.
Yeah, thanks again for KU helping us get that set up and getting them on. If you guys really love this episode, which I hope you did, make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button below. On our way to 1,000 subscribers, and we're getting closer by the day. And if you're a Jayhawk fan, you definitely want to be tuning into the podcast because Devin is the first of many potentially awesome guests we have lined up over the next few months. So again, hit that like and subscribe button below. You can also check us out over on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KCSA Pod, where the content is rolling. There's a lot of stuff moving, not just KU related, that we're diving into, and you want to make sure you check out all of it. So again, thank you guys for checking this one out. And as always, rock chalk.
Rock chalk.